At the entrance of the Civil Affairs Bureau, my boyfriend rushed to the hospital in a panic after learning that his secretary had fainted. After waiting for what felt like an eternity, he called and said, "Lila is pregnant, and the child is mine. I have to take responsibility." "How do you plan to take responsibility?" I gritted my teeth, suppressing the emotions about to explode. He said, "After she gives birth, I'll send her abroad immediately, never to see her again. You'll be the only mother the child knows. Let's postpone the marriage registration and wedding. We'll discuss everything after the baby is born." I laughed coldly. "You're really dreaming. Does he, Milo Chin, really think I can't live without him?" I dialed the phone number of the young Master Lee. "Didn't you beg for a chance? If you can appear in front of me tomorrow morning, I'll marry you." After gathering my emotions, I took a taxi back to the place I once believed was a haven of happiness. As soon as I entered, I saw Milo Chin bending his head to peel an orange for Lila Lin. His movements were slow and meticulous, his fingertips gently removing every bit of white pith from each segment before personally feeding the orange to Lila Lin's lips. Lila Lin blinked her eyes, took a bite, and cooed. "The orange peeled by Milo is so sweet and delicious. Eat slowly, no one's competing with you. All the ones I peel are for you." Milo Chin looked so gentle, in a way I'd never seen before. My heart suddenly turned cold. Last year when I was hospitalized, he came to visit. I said I wanted to eat an apple, but he frowned in annoyance and casually tossed me an orange instead. "Peel it yourself. I've got things to do." Love and indifference have long been distinguished in these trivial matters. I used to deceive myself, believing that as long as I remained loyal to him, he would never betray me. Lila Lin looked up and noticed me. "Sister Noah, you're back," she feigned surprise, widening her eyes, but they couldn't conceal the smugness and provocation within. "Would you like some oranges?" Milo peeled them himself. "They're very sweet." My throat tightened, but I still replied indifferently, "I don't like oranges." Only then did Milo Chin turn around, seeing it was me. The tenderness on his face instantly vanished, leaving only a trace of impatience and coldness. "Why are you back so late?" He didn't even let go of Lila Lin's hand as he spoke. Perfect timing. "I have something to tell you. We have nothing to say." I was exhausted, unwilling to watch them flaunt their affection or waste another word on them. But before I could take 2 steps, Milo Chin grabbed me, pulled me to the sofa, and pressed me firmly against the backrest without room for refusal. His tone left no room for argument. "During this time, you'll quit your job and stay home to take care of Lila until she gives birth. From now on, you'll learn to cook meals for pregnant women, ensuring she eats well and sleeps well. Also, Lila is allergic to mangoes and peanuts, and don't let her touch cold water." Listening to his commanding instructions, I found it utterly absurd. "Sorry, I don't have the habit of serving mistresses. Let your mother take care of her personally." He frowned and glared at me displeased. "Noah, this is your responsibility." "Why should it be my responsibility? I'm not the one who got her pregnant," I roared back. Lila Lin suddenly covered her face and began to sob, looking at me with tearful eyes. "Sister Noah, I'm sorry. I know you must hate me to death, but I didn't come to break up this family. I just wanted to give birth to the baby safely." Milo Chin immediately pulled her into his arms, heartbroken. "Don't cry. Lila, this isn't your fault. You don't need to apologize to anyone." Then he turned to me with a self-righteously understanding and magnanimous expression, as if I were the unreasonable one. "Noah, I know you're still angry. This is indeed my fault. That night at the business dinner, I shouldn't have drunk so much and mistaken Lila for you. Since things have happened, we can only face them. After the child is born, we'll register it under our names. After all, you have uterine coldness and can hardly get pregnant. Now you get to be a mother. How wonderful." Every word he spoke felt like a knife slicing through my heart, making it bleed profusely, yet I couldn't utter a single cry of pain. "No need for all this trouble." My voice trembled, but I tried to stay composed. "Milo Chin, let's break up." "What did you say? Break up?" Milo Chin's voice suddenly rose sharply. He seemed to have heard the biggest joke in the world, sneering as he stepped closer to me, mocking me. "Noah Yoon, do you really have the heart to break up with me? Don't forget, you were the one begging me to get married, begging me to hold the wedding. Enough, stop making a scene, there's a limit to throwing tantrums. If you keep this up, I might actually take it seriously. My heart jolted violently, my fingertips trembling slightly, yet I still raised my head to meet his unfamiliar gaze. Yes, I was the one who proposed getting the marriage certificate, and I also insisted on having the wedding, because I really wanted to have a home, and I also wanted to fulfill Uncle Chin's dying wish. I'm an orphan. Originally, I should have started working right after finishing middle school. It was Uncle Chin who kindly sponsored me, not only supporting me through high school but also funding my college education, and even financing my research projects. Unfortunately, the good times didn't last long. Uncle Chin's company went bankrupt due to malicious competition from rivals. The blow was too much for him, and he fell seriously ill, never to recover. Before his passing, he held my hand and Milo Chin's, saying to me, "Noah, you're a good child. How I wish you could become my daughter-in-law, but alas, I won't live to see it. Milo needs your help, I believe in you." To repay Mr. Chin's kindness, I sold my patent to support Milo Chin's startup. Those years of starting the business were truly as bitter as sinking into a quagmire. We squeezed into a tiny 30-square-meter apartment. He ran around meeting clients during the day, while I stayed up late at night working on proposals. At our poorest, we split a single bucket of instant noodles into 2 meals, saving the rest of the money to buy meat for Chin's mother. I vomited blood from stomach pain, yet he still forced himself to attend social events, saying, "Noah, just hold on a little longer, we're almost through the worst of it." Once, he came home drunk, hugged me, and cried, "Once the company takes off, I'll marry you for sure. I'll throw you the grandest wedding the city has ever seen." Back then, though life was tough, our bond was stronger than gold. After 7 years, we succeeded. The company turned profitable, we upgraded to a bigger house, and even got a car, yet Milo Chin never made any gestures toward me. Instead, he was always seen coming and going with the new secretary, Lila Lin. Ironically, Lila Lin was the impoverished student I sponsored, and I also made an exception to let her intern at the company. At first, Milo Chin looked down on Lila Lin, saying she was clumsy, couldn't make coffee or use the printer, and only knew how to cry. Later, he said Lila Lin was very resilient, and when talking about her, he couldn't help but smile. Then, he left me alone in the restaurant for Lila Lin. He missed an important meeting because of her minor cold. And when Lila Lin and I both liked the same necklace, he bought it first and gave it to her. Rumors are spreading in the company, with some people secretly mocking me, the old hag, about whether I'm going to step down. I don't care about these meaningless comments, but I need Milo Chin to give me a clear stance. I asked him, "What exactly is your relationship with Lila Lin? If you really like her, just break up with me cleanly. Don't drag it out like this." He frowned impatiently. "Stop making a scene. I only see Lila as a little sister. Besides, you were the one who recommended her to be my secretary. Noah, you're the only one in my heart, the only one I love. Can you stop overthinking and making unreasonable fuss all day? You're really acting like a shrew. Why can't you be as lively and cheerful as Lila?" There was a time when all he talked about was Lila. Lila. Perhaps I was still a bit unwilling to accept it, so I forced him to make a choice. "Fine. Since you say you only love me, then fulfill your promise immediately. Marry me right now, and hold the wedding right after we get the marriage certificate." His face froze instantly, and after a long hesitation, he finally nodded and agreed to arrange a time to register our marriage with me. Looking back now, in fact, from the moment he hesitated, this relationship was already over. But at that time, I was unwilling to admit this truth. I raised my head and looked directly into Milo Chin's eyes. My voice eerily calm, almost cold. "I'm not throwing a tantrum. I mean every word. Let's break up. Milo Chin, I wish your family of 3 happiness." He froze, as if he hadn't expected me to be so straightforward. "Noah-yun, I don't have time for your games." His tone carried both anger and disbelief. I shook off his hand and didn't spare him another glance, walking straight toward the bedroom under his stunned gaze. The moment I pushed open the door, my entire body stiffened. The familiar bedroom had become unrecognizable. My clothes, books, and personal belongings were all gone, replaced by Lila Lynn's sweet, pastel maternity dresses and her favorite teddy bear pillow. What shattered me even more was that the pair of stained glass bedside lamps, which should have been on either side of the bed, were completely broken, their fragments swept into the trash bin in the room. My heart felt as if it had been pierced by a sharp knife, and my hands trembled uncontrollably. That was a gift made for me by the orphanage's mother and the children, symbolizing many children, many blessings. They saved money by cutting back on food and expenses to buy the materials, and every stitch was filled with their blessings. My breathing instantly became erratic as I rushed out of the room and demanded, "Where are my things? And who broke my bedside lamp?" Milo Chin frowned and waved his hand impatiently. "Your things have been moved to the guest room. Lila is pregnant now and needs a sense of security, so I'll be staying with her in the master bedroom for the time being. You can sleep in the guest room." As for the bedside lamp, before he could finish, Lila Lynn suddenly ran over, grabbed both of my hands, and burst into tears, looking pitiful and delicate like a weeping flower. "Sister Noah, I'm sorry, I accidentally broke the bedside lamp. I really didn't mean to. Can you forgive me?" Ridiculous. Those were two separate bedside lamps placed on either side. How could she accidentally break both at once? "Stop pretending to be innocent," I sneered, forcefully shaking off her hand. "Lila Lynn, have you had enough of acting? Back when I was supporting you, I never imagined you'd one day use such tricks against me." She collapsed to the ground, clutching her stomach tightly with both hands, and cried out loudly, "Ah, my stomach hurts so much. Milo, it hurts so much." The next second, a sharp slap landed on my face. Snap! The sudden blow caught me off guard, causing me to lose my balance. My forehead hit the corner of the wall, and a wave of dizziness washed over me. "Noayun, how much could these worthless lamps possibly be worth that you'd drive Lila to death? When did you become so cruel? I'm so disappointed in you." Milo Chin gritted his teeth, his eyes red as he picked up Lila Lynn and snarled at me, "If anything happens to Lila or the baby, I swear I'll make you pay with your life." Blood trickled down from my temple, its metallic tang sliding into my mouth. I touched the wound and saw the bright crimson glistening on my fingertips, yet I felt no pain, only a chilling numbness spreading through my body. I took off the titanium steel ring he had bought for me during our hardest time 7 years ago and tossed it onto the coffee table. After packing my luggage, I left immediately, but it seemed like the heavens were against me. As soon as I stepped out, the rain poured down. Without an umbrella, I had no choice but to dash through the rain. But just as I was about to rush into the street, a man suddenly blocked my path. With one hand, he held an umbrella steadily over my head, shielding me from the pouring rain, while his other warm, large palm gently pressed against my forehead, carefully wiping away the blood. His brows were filled with worry and restraint, yet he glared at me with forced composure. "Noayun, are you an idiot? How dare you run outside bleeding like this without even bandaging it? What if the rain soaks your wound and you get a fever? Lee Chaonan, how could you?" My voice was hoarse beyond recognition, rain mixing with blood as it streamed down my temples, utterly disheveled. He didn't respond, only raised the umbrella higher, enveloping me completely in his embrace. "Don't speak, I'm taking you to the hospital first." His tone brooked no argument as his warm palm firmly grasped my hand. At that moment, I unexpectedly felt like crying. When we reached the emergency room, the doctor treated my wound while he kept tightly holding my fingers, as if afraid I might vanish the next second. As the alcohol stung my skin, I couldn't help but gasp in pain. He immediately whispered comfortingly, "If it hurts, just pinch me. Don't try to tough it out." After the bandaging was done, he helped fetch the medicine and pay the fees, every movement swift and decisive. Without the slightest hesitation or complaint, outside the hospital, the heavy rain still hadn't stopped. He opened the umbrella, shielding me from the wind and rain on his side. "Let's go, we'll buy some things at the supermarket. You're staying with me tonight, all the way." He held my hand, as if we had returned to the days when we lived together in the orphanage. Lee Chaonan was once a child in the orphanage too, but he was different from me. I was sent to the orphanage because both my parents had passed away and I had no other relatives. He was trafficked, changed hands multiple times, and temporarily couldn't find his biological parents, so he was sent to the orphanage. He is very smart. He taught himself middle school material while still in elementary school. Thanks to his tutoring, my academic performance ranked at the top of the class. He has a knack for making money, and whenever he earned some, he would buy candy for the children at the orphanage, keeping a small portion to secretly take me out to eat, ordering my favorite steamed egg with minced meat. I thought we would continue to grow up so simply and happily, but later, his biological parents came for him. According to the headmistress, his family was a wealthy and influential one in the capital. Before leaving, he held my hand and told me not to forget him, that he would come back for me. But we met again too late. At that time, Mr. Chin had just passed away, and I promised to stay by Milo Chin's side to help him. In truth, I always knew that Lee Chaonan was secretly helping me, especially during the most difficult times when Milo Chin and I were starting our business. It was he who extended a helping hand and became our first client, on the day he learned I was about to get married. He drank heavily and called me, his voice choked with tears, saying, "Noah, please don't marry that scumbag Milo Chin. He doesn't deserve you, he's already betrayed you. I don't want to wish you and Milo Chin happiness at all. I can't say it, I just can't bring myself to. I've liked you for so many years. Could you just turn around and look at me? Please, Lee Chaonan, you're drunk, go to sleep." I hung up the phone, dismissing his words as drunken ramblings. There's no denying. Calling Lee Chaonan and saying I'd marry him if he showed up tomorrow was partly out of spite, but he actually showed up. After shopping at the supermarket, he took me home and cooked for me. I watched him swiftly wash vegetables and chop meat in the kitchen. The sound of the spatula flipping mingled with the aroma of scallions, ginger, and garlic. Before long, a table of vibrant dishes was served, all my favorites, especially that steamed egg with minced meat. Try it. He scooped a spoonful of egg custard and held it out to me. Does it still taste like it did when you were little? My throat tightened a little as I lowered my head to take a bite. Tender, smooth, and delicate, it was the gentle flavor from my memories. What's wrong? Not to your taste? Lee Chaonan crouched down to meet my eye level and asked cautiously. No, it's delicious. I shook my head, but couldn't stop my nose from stinging. I didn't expect you to still remember I love these. He smiled. I remember everything about you. Thinking about all these years with Milo Chin, I've cooked countless meals for him. Yet he's never once cooked for me, at most making a bowl of instant noodles, and even those were half raw. And now, someone remembers my taste preferences, preparing every dish just the way I like it, all to make me happy. By the way, why did you suddenly show up? Weren't you supposed to be on a business trip today? Recalling the background noise during our call. It sounded like he was at the airport terminal. Lee Chaonan looked up at me, his gaze incredibly earnest. Compared to business, my wife is obviously more important. My heart inexplicably skipped a beat, and I instinctively averted my gaze. Who's your wife? Yet he grabbed my hand. I've already appeared before you ahead of time. You can't go back on your word, you have to marry me. We'll get our marriage certificate tomorrow. This time, no matter what, I won't let go of your hand. I thought of how I had humbly begged Milo Chin to get our marriage certificate with me, only to be met with his hesitation and impatience. At this moment, I suddenly realized, why should I tread carefully and compromise myself, waiting for someone to bestow a promise upon me? Allowing someone who doesn't love me to hurt me is the greatest harm I could do to myself. All right, I replied softly. Tomorrow we'll go to the civil affairs office together. Lee Chaonan froze for a second, then beamed like a child. As for our wedding, it's set in 3 days. He continued, after you called me, I immediately told my parents that I was going to marry you and asked them to hurry up and help prepare the wedding. 3 days, that's way too soon, I said in shock. He nodded with feigned seriousness. If we wait any longer, what if you change your mind? I didn't know whether to laugh or cry and told him, I won't go back on my word. Lee Chaonan reached out to hug me, resting his chin on my shoulder and murmuring softly, Noah, I feel like I'm dreaming a little. My nose tingled with emotion, but I couldn't help curling the corners of my lips. This isn't a dream, it's the beginning of our new life. After dinner, Lee Chaonan cleared the dishes and took me to the room to rest. I had just lain down on the bed when my phone suddenly vibrated. The name Mother Chin popped up on the screen, and I instinctively frowned as soon as the call connected. Her familiar yet grating voice pierced my ears. I already know about Lila's pregnancy. It's not a big deal. Men, it's normal for them to have women outside. Besides, with a son as outstanding as mine, there are plenty of women throwing themselves at him. To put it bluntly, if it weren't for old Chin naming you as his daughter-in-law on his deathbed, an orphan like you would never be worthy of stepping through the doors of our Chin family. She let out a cold laugh. Now listen carefully, serve Lila Lin well and give birth to that child. Otherwise, I will never acknowledge you as my daughter-in-law. The corner of my lips curled into a sneer. You old hag, your words are truly enlightening. Rich men should all keep mistresses and turn their lawful wives into maids. Seems like you've had plenty of experience serving as a maid to mistresses yourself. There was a stunned silence on the other end of the line for a second before her voice suddenly rose an octave. Noayun, shut your mouth. You have no say in this family. If I tell you to serve Lila Lin, you will do as you're told. Save it. Your so-called family has nothing to do with me. I cut her off. Milo Chin and I have already broken up. Find whoever you want to be your daughter-in-law. But leave me alone, you old hag, you, how can you be so ill-mannered? She was so angry her breathing became rapid, wanting to scold me, but I had already hung up and blocked her. No sooner had I put down the phone than it rang again. This time, it was Milo Chin. Frowning, I answered the call, only to be met with his furious command, Noayun, get to the hospital right now and kneel to apologize to Lila, or we're completely over. Apologize? Not a chance. My voice was icy to the extreme. He gnashed his teeth and cursed. You nearly caused Lila to die with her unborn child. Do you even realize how vicious you are? Nearly. That means it didn't actually happen. I scoffed. When Lila Lin really dies with her unborn child, you can just call the police and have me arrested. Furious beyond measure, he probably wished he could strangle me through the phone. Noayun, if you keep acting like this, I will absolutely not marry you. That's wonderful, I said cheerfully, as if I'd won the jackpot. I wouldn't want to marry an idiot either. You, he choked on his words, unable to form a complete sentence for a long time. Milo Chin, we've already broken up. There's no need to contact me anymore. I wish the three of you a lifetime of happiness locked together. With that, I decisively hung up the phone and blocked and deleted all contact information for him and Lila Lin. The night was as dark as ink, and I was wide awake. I put on my coat, ready to go downstairs for some fresh air, only to see Li Qiaonan sitting on the living room sofa, typing on his laptop and handling documents. He looked up and saw me, asking gently, "Can't sleep?" I nodded. He closed his laptop, came over, and took my hand. "Let's go, I'll take you somewhere." He brought me to the riverside. The night breeze brushed against my face, a bit chilly. But the warmth from his palm inexplicably made me feel at ease. I was wondering why we came here. He suddenly stopped in his tracks. "Noah, look at the sky." I looked up to see fireworks soaring into the air, exploding into vast bursts of brilliant light against the deep blue sky, blooming one after another, illuminating the entire riverbank into a dreamlike, fantastical world of colors. The next moment, an even bigger surprise appeared. The fireworks spelled out large characters, Noayun. Be happy every day. Tears unexpectedly slipped down as I stared blankly at the person beside me, feeling nothing but sourness and overwhelming emotion in my chest. He reached out and pulled me into his embrace, resting his chin lightly against my forehead. "Little one, from now on, someone will protect your happiness every day. No more letting yourself feel wronged, okay?" I nodded, my nose tingling with sourness, and leaned into his embrace, silently crying. Early the next morning, Li Qiaonan took me to the Civil Affairs Bureau. As soon as we got the red marriage certificate, he acted like a child, taking over a dozen photos of it and posting them everywhere on his social media, Weibo, and Xiaohongshu with the caption, "My dear wife, please guide me for the rest of my life." I didn't know whether to laugh or cry as he pulled me straight to the bridal shop. Before I could even pick a style, a familiar yet grating voice exploded behind me. "Noayun, didn't you say we broke up?" Why are you sneaking around trying on wedding dresses? Milo Chin sneered, looking at me as if I were a clown. He spoke condescendingly. Apologize to Lila right now, or even if you force me into marriage, I won't marry you. Are you out of your mind? I rolled my eyes. Too tired to deal with these two drama queens, his face darkened instantly as he stepped forward to forcibly grab me, even raising his hand as if to strike. The next second, there was a dull thud. Li Qiaonan swung his fist directly, knocking Milo Chin to the ground. Dare to touch my wife, how many lives do you think you have? His voice was low and icy, protective to the point of being utterly unreasonable. Milo Chin was knocked to the ground, covering his face and unable to get up for a long time. Lila Lin immediately rushed over to help him, screaming while wiping her tears. Sister Noah, how could you do this? Milo loves you so much. How could you cheat on him and try on wedding dresses with another man behind his back? You're acting like such a scumbag. Li Qiaonan narrowed his eyes and stared at her. Miss Lin, I can tolerate you once, but if you dare to insult my wife again, I'll have someone seal your mouth shut. Lila Lin shrank back like a frightened quail under Li Qiaonan's imposing aura, cautiously clinging to Milo Chin's arm, not daring to make another sound. Milo Chin finally regained his composure. Glaring at the two of us, what did you just call her, wife? Li Qiaonan unabashedly wrapped his arm around my waist, flashing the brand new marriage certificate. Noah is my wife. We're legally married. Got a problem with that? Milo Chin's eyes widened, and he gritted his teeth. Fake, Noah Yoon. You've even resorted to making fake documents to force me into marrying you. How utterly pathetic. He suddenly got up and grabbed my arm. Come with me. Isn't it just getting a marriage certificate? I'll give you what you want. I shook off his hand and slapped him with all my strength. Wake up, will you? We ended long ago. My voice was icy and resolute, without a trace of lingering affection. Milo Chin covered his face, still refusing to believe my marriage certificate was real. Convinced I would never leave him. Do you think hiring a man to act with you could fool me? Noah Yoon, you've truly disappointed me. He looked down at me condescendingly, but considering how much you love me, I can forgive you. Come on, let's go get our marriage license. I'll give you a real one. I glanced at Lila Lin behind him, and her expression changed. I knew she was afraid Milo Chin would really go through with marrying me, which would cost her the title of Mrs. Chin, leaving her forever as the other woman. I curled my lips into a smile, deliberately drawing out my tone. Oh, Milo Chin, you're saying we should go get our marriage license now. What about Lila Lin? And what will you do with your child, Milo? Lila Lin suddenly clutched her stomach, looking as if she was in unbearable pain. It hurts. The baby. Something seems wrong. Milo Chin immediately panicked, turning to look at her, then casting a reluctant glance back at me. In the end, he still turned and gathered Lila Lin into his arms. Noah, wait for me. Once I've settled Lila, I'll take you abroad immediately, and we'll get married in a castle. After saying that, he carried Lila Lin and left. I rolled my eyes and muttered under my breath, idiot. Li Qiaonan wrapped his arm around my shoulder, leaned down, and whispered in my ear. For a moment there, I was really afraid you'd go with him. I stood on tiptoe and kissed the corner of his mouth. Don't worry, I don't like idiots. He finally showed a boyish smile and asked seriously, then, do you really want to have the wedding in a castle? If I nod now, he will surely bring the most beautiful castle in the world to me. I shook my head and entwined my fingers into his palm. No need, I don't need a castle, as long as the people I care about are by my side. That's enough. Milo Chin had a splitting headache. He had been working non-stop in the office for 3 days. He didn't know how he had offended the major client, who suddenly announced the termination of cooperation. Shortly after, other clients also successively ended their partnerships. If this continues, the cash flow will break, and the company will go bankrupt. He was extremely agitated, his mind a tangled mess, and at this very moment, the image of Noah Yoon kept resurfacing in his thoughts. No matter what difficulties he faced before, Noah Yoon would always be by his side. She would calmly analyze the situation while flipping through documents, saying to him, just a minor setback. As long as she was there, even the biggest problems could be easily resolved. He stared at the name in his phone contacts, hesitating whether to call Noah-yoon. If I call her now, she'll definitely think I can't live without her, and from then on she'll be able to walk all over me. Noah-yoon is perfect in every way, except she's too domineering and opinionated, always being aggressive and suffocating men. Women should return to the family. Be good wives and mothers, but right now, he really misses Noah-yoon. Just as he made up his mind to call Noah-yoon, Lila Lin pushed the door open, carefully cradling her belly and coquettishly whining, "Milo, the baby wants to eat oranges. Can you go buy some, please?" Milo Chin frowned. He used to find this side of Lila Lin charming and adorable, but now it just seems so irritating. The company is about to go bankrupt, and she's still thinking about eating oranges. His anger erupted instantly. "If you want oranges, can't you buy them yourself? Do you not have hands or feet? Don't bother me, get out." Lila Lin was stunned by the shouting, and after 2 seconds, her eyes welled up with tears as she choked out, "Milo, you've changed, shut up." Milo Chin slammed the table violently. "Stop pretending to be pitiful here." Lila Lin covered her face and ran out of the office, accompanied by a sob that was even more piercing and unbearable. The room fell silent again. Leaving only the suffocating air and increasingly heavy breathing, his mind was filled with the image of Noah-yoon calmly and composedly handling the crisis. Only such a woman was worthy of being his wife. Just then, his mother's video call came through. "Son, I heard Noah-yoon is holding her wedding at XX Hotel today. Is that true?" Milo Chin froze, his mind exploding with a loud bang. "What wedding? Who said she got married?" "My old friend posted photos of her wedding with the young master of the Lee family on her social media." Mrs. Chin snorted coldly and added with a haughty tone, "That orphan girl is quite the schemer. She told me you two broke up, and immediately turned around to latch onto the Lee family. She really is a restless vixen. It's just as well she's married. She was never good enough for you. Son, you deserve a wealthy heiress from a family of equal standing." "Mom, shut up," Milo Chin roared. His mind consumed by the thought of Noah-yoon marrying someone else, his chest felt as if it had been split open by a blunt knife, each step bringing excruciating pain, making it hard to breathe. He couldn't accept it, he simply couldn't. No way, absolutely impossible. Noah-yoon is not a vixen. I won't allow you to insult her. She couldn't possibly marry someone else. She can only marry me. He firmly believed that all of this must be fake, that Noah-yoon had hired actors to deceive him. She loved him so much, she couldn't possibly marry someone else. He grabbed the car keys and rushed out of the office. The wedding venue was brilliantly lit, with a grand floral arch at the end of the red carpet. Lee Chaonan held my hand, his palm warm and firm. The audience was filled with celebrities from all walks of life, every eye fixed on us. The priest's voice was solemn and melodious. "Miss Noah-yoon, do you take Mr. Lee Chaonan to be your husband, to have and to hold, for better or for worse, for richer or for poorer, in sickness and in health, to love and to cherish, till death do you part?" I looked at the man beside me, his eyes filled with only me. "I do." Applause erupted, and flowers rained down. The ring slipped onto my finger, and as Lee Chaonan and I leaned in for a kiss, the entire room erupted in cheers. Suddenly, the doors were flung open with force, and a disheveled figure burst in. Eye object, all eyes turned in unison, and the venue fell silent instantly. Leaving only Milo Chin's panting shout echoing through the air, he rushed to the front of the stage, his suit disheveled and his eyes bloodshot, as if he had gone mad. "Noah, this farce needs to end. I'm here now, so stop acting. Send all these actors home, I'll cover everyone's performance fees." The guests erupted into murmurs, some snickering, others frowning. Milo Chin stared at me intently. "Do you have any idea what I've done for you? I rushed here in the rain, and for you. I even dared to defy my mother. Can't you see how sincere I am? Stop this nonsense. Come home with me, and let's start over." "Okay." He reached out his hand, only for Lee Chaonan to kick it away. "Get lost, you little punk," Lee Chaonan sneered. "How dare someone whose company is about to go bankrupt still have the nerve to fight for a marriage?" Milo Chin slumped to the ground, staring at him in disbelief. "Was it you? Did you pull some underhanded trick to steal my clients?" I took a deep breath and looked coldly at Milo Chin. Milo Chin, you didn't come to me because you love me, you only remembered you needed my help when your company couldn't hold on any longer. He shook his head in denial, but his flustered and guilty expression tore the lie to shreds. Let me tell you, the actual person behind the company's biggest client is Chao Nan, I said calmly. The initial cooperation was also because Chao Nan agreed to it out of respect for me. All those subsequent clients only worked with you because of his word. Impossible, impossible. Milo Chin gritted his teeth, unwilling to believe the truth. He had always believed that the company was something he built himself, that the major clients were ones he secured, and that I merely helped out a little along the way. We're over. Please stop disgusting me and get the hell away, I said calmly, but he still refused to leave, continuing to struggle and shout, Noah, you're my wife. What does this pretty boy surnamed Lee amount to? He's the third party. Lee Chaonan was so angry that he laughed instead, stepping forward to throw a punch, but I stopped him. No need to dirty your hands, leave the trash to the security guards. Two black-suited security guards immediately grabbed Milo Chin and lifted him up. He struggled desperately, shouting, Noah Yoon, you can't get married without my consent. He was dragged out by the guards, his mouth covered, at this moment. Lee Chaonan turned to face the crowd, his tone icy. From now on, anyone who dares to continue cooperating with the Chin family will be making an enemy of the Lee family. I mean what I say. Beautiful and romantic music began to play once more. The wedding continued. I looked up to meet Lee Chaonan's gentle yet resolute gaze. And amidst everyone's blessings, we embraced and kissed each other. The entire venue erupted into the most enthusiastic and heartfelt applause and cheers. One Milo Chin stumbled home, still covered in the humiliation and disgrace from the wedding scene. He had expected to see Lila Lin greet him gently when he opened the door. Even a single word of comfort would have sufficed. But just as he reached the entrance, he heard her muffled laughter from inside. Don't worry. He's still clueless and thinks the child is his. The company is about to go bankrupt if I don't cash in soon. It'll be too late. The man's voice on the phone was playful. Lila, don't go soft on me now. Once we get the money, we'll fly away together and let that loser fend for himself. Lila Lin giggled. Him? What's he good for besides pretending to be devoted? I've been sick of him for ages. Once the money's in our hands, we're out of here. He doesn't even know he's been cuckolded. What a fucking idiot. Milo Chin's mind exploded with shock. He stood frozen outside the door, one hand gripping the doorknob so tightly his knuckles turned white. It was all a scam from the very beginning. A mix of rage, shame, and despair churned within him as he violently kicked the door open and stormed in, his eyes bloodshot like a wild beast. Lila Lin, you bitch, he lunged at her, slapping her across the face. How dare you deceive me? The child isn't mine. Lila Lin was stunned by the blow, screaming in terror. Are you insane? Let me go. Milo Chin grabbed her by the hair, pinned her down on the sofa, and roared, It's all your fault, it's all your fault. If it weren't for you, this bitch, how could I have lost Noah? Give Noah back to me. His hands closed around Lila Lin's neck as she struggled desperately, crying out, Help, help. At that moment, a man rushed in. A vase was raised high and smashed toward Milo Chin. Milo Chin's pupils constricted violently, feeling the world spin before collapsing to the ground. Damn it, how dare you hit my woman? You're asking for death. The man pulled Lila Lin up, and the two ransacked the house for all valuables before fleeing, leaving Milo Chin alone, lying in a pool of blood. I saw Milo Chin again a month later, dressed in a hospital gown, his face pale. He stood at my doorstep leaning on a crutch, like a stray dog that had been abandoned. Noah. He called out to me in a hoarse voice, dropping to his knees as soon as he spoke. I'm sorry. I was wrong, truly wrong. Can you forgive me? His tears fell pattering down, wetting the surface of my shoes. I heard you almost died. I looked at him coolly, without a trace of sympathy. Too bad you survived. I heard that when he was on the brink of death, someone found him and took him to the hospital. He stayed in the ICU for a long time before being transferred to a regular ward. Milo Chin raised his head to look at me. Those once confident and bold eyes now held nothing but humility and despair. Noah, I miss you so much. Only after losing you did I realize how important you are. I beg you to get a divorce. Okay, divorce Lee Chaonan and give me another chance. Let's start over. What a joke. I raised an eyebrow at him and said with a smile, I'm already pregnant. Are you willing to be a stepfather? Milo Chin froze, his lips trembling slightly. But he still managed to force out a sentence, I'm willing, but in the future, can we have another child of our own? Okay, he sure knows how to dream. At that moment, a cold, deep male voice came from the stairwell. Who gave you the courage to be a happy stepdad? How about I make you a dead man instead? Lee Chaonan walked in, draped his coat over my shoulders, and naturally wrapped his arm around my waist. He even deliberately leaned down to plant an affectionate kiss on my temple. He shot Milo Chin a disdainful look. Don't pay attention to these shady characters, sweetheart. I don't want to waste any more words with Milo Chin either. So I say directly, I was just joking earlier. I would never get a divorce, and even if I did, I wouldn't be with you. You're the person I despise most in this world. Milo Chin's face turns as pale as paper, his voice trembling with tears. Noah, don't be so heartless, I beg you. At that moment, his mother suddenly rushes out, cursing at me. Noah Yoon, you ungrateful wretch, if it weren't for my husband Chin funding your education back then, would you even be where you are today? If you have any conscience left, you should give our family some shares of the Lee Corporation. I was utterly speechless. You old hag, what kind of lowlife are you to have such delusions? Why hasn't lightning struck you dead yet? I've already repaid all the debts of gratitude I owed. I have a clear conscience toward Uncle Chin. It's your idiot son who lacks the ability to maintain the business that has nothing to do with me. Security, throw them out immediately. I waved my hand indifferently, not even bothering to look at them. If they come back to cause trouble again, just call the police. After that, I never saw the mother and son again. Later, I heard that Milo Chin found Lila Lin and her lover and stabbed them to death on a dark and stormy night. He was arrested by the police and sentenced to death. His mother couldn't bear the shock and went insane. None of this has anything to do with me. My child was born, a very adorable girl. Now, with the company of my loved one and child, my own career, and a warm little home, every day is a new beginning. Chaonan never asked me to stay at home to serve my husband and raise children. He supported and encouraged me to pursue my dreams. I originally aspired to be a pharmaceutical researcher. In the past, I gave up this ambition to repay a debt of gratitude. Now, with greater support, my team and I will develop drugs that benefit humanity. Sunlight streams through the glass into the workspace. A bright future lies ahead.